Faith versus the marketplace, faith versus the workplace, faith versus the social life, faith versus technology. And these distinctions again continue to set many believers back, or should I say continue to set the entire faith, the Christian faith, a little bit back from the reality of what is going on, as against everyone applying their faith in the world. We have been called to reach out to the world. We've been called to do great things for Jesus. But it becomes a problem when many believers think that it is one against the other. And then it limits their ability, it limits their power to influence their world. Welcome to another edition of Word Bank Kingdom. Such a pleasure knowing that you joined in today. And as you joined us last week, we started a new series theme, Aligning Faith and Technology, which we started off last week with Mr. Idowu and Mr. Ayofalala, in which they did great justice to the conversation. But we're still on the theme, and our duty here, as our custom here, is to espouse on this thing, is to dig deep into this concept of faith and technology. And that's why we said innovating with God's purpose, aligning faith and technology. So today again, we hope to draw out wisdom. We pray to be inspired, not just to listen, but to take it in and apply into our everyday world, and to realize that it is not one against the other. It is for us inside and to manifest and to influence our world. But how do we do that is why we're gathered here tonight, and why we're going to be gathered for the next couple of weeks right here. And as always, I'm not alone. I have two distinguished guests. I intentionally said two distinguished guests. On my left hand side, of course, you might have seen him come on board a great deal. His name is Mr. Yes, I'm making this official, like a formal introduction, because you'll be wondering why I'm doing this. But yes, you're my guest today, and I have to treat you like a guest. Please welcome Mr. Oladapo Odunlami. He is a publisher, he is a swim instructor, and a technology enthusiast. So thank you very much. On my right-hand side, I have Dr. Olamide Olarinwaju. He's an IT professional and a Christian apologist. That's the first time I'm coming across such in my life. A Christian apologist, studied computer science at Abraham Adeson Polytechnic and Bistowa International University. Studied CompTIA A+ and N+ at Aptech Computer Education Diploma in CISSP. Governance, risk compliance, certified in data protection, cybersecurity, business continuity, IT governance, etc. Also a member of Cybersecurity Expert Association of Nigeria. He is a speaker passionate about societal transformation. He is a former board chairman, Technical Advisory Group Southwest Project. He has also occupied several other leadership positions in Oyo State. He's an experienced IT instructor with preference in non-technical cybersecurity role. He currently works at Full Range Microfinance Bank as an IT personnel. So you can see that today we brought the goons in the house. No, not goons, because by the time I checked, by the way, I checked the true meaning of goons in the dictionary. It doesn't mean something nice. So go and check it again. So I brought the men here to talk about this concept of faith and technology. I will start with Doctor here, because I want to address you on something that we've discussed before, and I'd like to bring that in the open. Let me start with Dr. Olarinwaju. When we talk about aligning faith and technology, what comes to mind?
Thank you. When we talk about aligning faith with technology, the first thing that comes to my mind is how, as a believer, we could take advantages of the transitions in the technological space. How we can take advantages of it, how we can understand it, and how we can also profit from it.
And how we can also profit from it. I like that.
Yes.
And let me turn to Mr. Dabo. When we talk about aligning with technology, what comes to your own mind?
Okay, first of all, good evening, everyone here in the auditorium and those of us online. And like your question, what comes to my mind when I hear faith and technology. I just see maybe the same thing, but from different perspectives. That is two sides of one coin. And I mean, I was privileged to be here last week, so I'm going to be dwelling much on the conversation from last week and maybe just adding a few ideas of mine, since this is a conversation.
Yes, a conversation, definitely.
All right, so when we say faith and technology, what I mean by two sides of the same coin is I'm looking at faith, first of all, as a state of mind.
Faith as a state of mind.
Yes. Faith as a state of mind, especially to imagine possibilities. So if I say I have faith in something, that means I'm looking into the possibilities with that thing or from that thing. Okay, so I mean, most of us here were in the Christian space, and when we say faith, is usually attributed to faith in God, belief in God. So if you believe in God, you believe in his ability to do something. So now that is the first side. The other side is the application of that which you believe. So I believe that I can build a skyscraper of 600 meters. That I have faith in that belief, or I have faith in that thinking. Now the technology aspect is to bring it to life. So the two of them, to me, they are the same.
And I like that description, two sides of a coin. But so the challenge now is that, and I think I'll still send the questions to both directions. The challenge for me now is that why do you think that many believers like to create this distinction between being a this and that? So for example, someone says church is like the most important day of the week, and then they just go into their work like another life. You get, so the church is one life, the workplace is another life, right? So their Christian work is one life, how they use technology is another life. Why do you think we have that problem?
You see, if we want to be sincere, Nigeria versions of Christianity majorly is a brainwashing. You are going there now. It's brainwashing. Why do I say so? In an average church, aside from churches that are coming up now, an average church will make you believe that it's God that will solve all your problem. So even where you are supposed to work well, work harder. Okay, let me give an example. A few days ago, I was going home with a colleague, and we met a guy who also worked in a very, very distinguished commercial financial institution. So he met with my colleague and he was angry. He said it was because of it I didn't get promotion.
Wow.
And we saw the other lady. She has been promoted. So now let me tell you what happened. Anytime this young man comes to our office, he sits down with the customer service, and one, he dressed like a church guy. So two, when he comes, he's always talking about, maybe I don't know if he's preaching to my colleague at the customer service. He's always this pious and sanctimonious. Meanwhile, the other lady will come to our office, talk to everybody, and the next thing is, are you not going to open an account with us as well? I can open an account in your bank, so will you open too? And in the space of months, this lady skyrockets. And I asked my colleague, okay, so they didn't promote him. He's now even crying out that you are the cause of it. I said, now the point is this. The only thing they taught them in church is it to go to office and go and pray in tongues. I said, is that the definition of being a believer? So a conversation sparked that. Most pastors, they preach the kingdom. Everything they preach about the kingdom, it is being spiritualized. So your workplace too, they believe your workplace is a different place. When you come to church, you should be holy. So what do? People become unholy in the marketplace, and they come to church and become pious and sanctimonious. Why? Because it is the message they've heard continuously over and over again. And many of them do not take their time to just pick up the Bible and read. The way some pastors even preach to you, you will not get home and check your Bible again. because they speak as the Alpha and Omega of the Bible with strong conviction, in so much that you will not be able to prove them. Grew up in that kind of environment, you will spiritualize everything, including your workplace. So I think that's for me, I would say it's because the church has not been helping in differentiating it, to say everywhere you are is the kingdom. But you are working in, it's part of the kingdom, it's part of the territory. There's no distinction.
So, what are your thoughts, Mr. Dapo?
Okay, I think I was carried away by the explanation, and I think your question was to say, why is it that many people in this context separate the two, faith and then technology? And why?
Faith and work, all this.
Okay, so I think Dr. Larry Waju has spoken a little bit about our context here, maybe the African context. I'm trying to expand it to the African context. But, there are other contexts where these people are given to technology and they don't have faith. Meaning they don't have faith in one God somewhere who supersedes everything. So because things are working, if you've seen there's this airplane, this jumbo-sized airplane, A380, it's double-decker airplane. It's so massive that the dimensions would wow your mind. You'll be wondering, how does this thing fly? So some people were able to sit down somewhere and, using their thoughts, their mental capacity to say, okay, aerodynamics and all of those things to make the plane fly. If you are coming with, with faith, so to speak, oh, there's a God somewhere who can do this for you, such a person will just look at you like, okay, I don't have a God, but I can design a plane that can fly. So this is my thinking or my belief. The reasons why people might have this dichotomy, why we have these differences is, one, the context, like Dr. Olariwa just said, and also their realities. Many of us here, whether we like it or not, we don't want to solve any problem. So, I go to church just to probably just mark a calendar and go to work to just get money. But there are some contexts where, if there's hold up, if there's traffic on the road, you will find many of them thinking, okay, how can we solve this problem? I was watching a video a while back of, these people that quote unquote you might say they don't believe in God. They have a child. And you know what they came up with? A magnet is so bad that the train doesn't move on the road. They suspend it in the, while there's traffic on the road, they suspend the magnetic levitation train right there. And the train just has about 5 centimeters away from the track. It's just floating. So people come around to solve problems. It doesn't have context. So they believe in, we can do this. We can do this. So they don't really care about there's a God somewhere. So my point is reality and then the type of people that we have. So it might be a reason why there can be this dichotomy. I believe in God. Nothing else matters. I just want to get paid. I don't care about any problems. And this other context, we can solve everything. There's nothing we can achieve. We don't need any God anywhere.
So one thing is clear now from what both of you have said. The reality.
Yeah.
Whether from the perspective of the shepherd to the flock, or this other two dichotomies I created for someone saying, I believe in God and that's everything I need to know. But there's something you said in between all of those things that I also like to tie, because it also ties with what you said also, that people just go into their workspaces, go into these things without the knowledge or without the mindset that I want to solve a problem, right?
Yeah.
So now in terms of solving problem now, the context of solving problem now, why is it also that many believers, I'm using believers because this is a faith, I don't know, so I don't know, I'm just saying believers, right? Is that many of us also take a consumer nature, right? It's one thing to say, you say this is man, this technology, right? Sometimes, many times, what we do is to take a consumer. What we just do is consume. There's nothing we are really doing to it, right? Why do we also have that?
Okay. You see, environmental influence and our background, our level of exposure. Okay, an average person in Africa just want to survive. Trust me, either you believe it or not. We all want to survive. So, if you want to survive, you are going to become a beast or a monster. Just because you want to survive. So, if you now say, I dare to be different, life will show you truck show that has been laid. Now, I take a decision in my life. I said, me, I want to be different. As at the time I was giving myself these promises, I don't know how to be different. Even as a teenager. So all I could do was, okay, the environment I grew up from, the only thing I know is that if you want to be different, you separate from family a bit. So I started doing it. Even though I had family, I was living like an homeless person. Just because I don't want the culture. I don't want to be raised by this culture. I don't want to get involved in this culture. I don't want to be a consumer myself. So I sat down. I felt like, okay, what do I know best? Technology. I said, okay. I started researching on the internet. Then that was the primitive days of internet. I think that was in 2009, 2010, primitive. You know, internet has not really been pronounced
in this part of the world.
Yes, yeah. So I started searching, always on phone. You know, they ask me that, what are you doing with phone? You know, they are not seeing what I'm seeing. But because I dare to be different, I felt like, okay, fine. I just want to solve problem. I don't know the exact problem I want to solve. But as I begin the journey, gradually, I now see that one of the reasons why people have a consumer mentality is for convenience. People get convenient with what they see and the result they have seen. But they are not convenient with living a different life that you have not seen anybody that really live it and you have not really seen the results. So even on my own part, even though I have not seen the results, I feel like let me choose the path. So wherever I find myself, wherever the results end, I know it will not end too bad, but I know it will not be something I am seeing. Because something I am seeing is not what I like. So the environment we grow up, the background we grow up, itself is a learning structure to make people complacent and make them do things that is only convenience, because why? That's the only result they are seeing. Nobody wants to engage in an adventure they have not seen the future. It's difficult.
Interesting. Which brings me to this question, because what I'm trying to do is to come from the bigger to the specifics now. This technology, let's even break it down to our context as Nigeria. And this is for both parties now. Thinking about technology as against what is the standard in the world versus what we have in Nigeria, how would you rate it? Let's even look at that.
Okay. You are giving the big questions. All right. Well, like you said, for our context here, I see technology as the extent at which we've been able to solve our own problems. That's how I see technology. So, how much have we been able to solve our own problems here? Let's use maybe Nigeria for for instance, to what extent have we solved the problem? And taking from the last questions, why do people maybe in this context just resign to be consumers, like he said? And I'm just going to wrap it up with maybe like a phrase. It's because we have options.
How do you mean?
I mean, if for instance the Henry Fords, the Mercedes Benz of those days, they were using horses, donkeys to do things. So there was no car anywhere. They wanted to solve the problem. How do we get this problem solved? How do we move these goods faster? How do we make this more efficient? So it will even surprise you to know that the first type of vehicles, or the most pronounced type of vehicle at some point, were electric vehicles.
Yeah.
Electric vehicles, steam engine vehicles, then we have the internal combustion vehicles. Okay, so they were trying to solve the problem. So they eventually chose, internal combustion, because for them too, that was the most convenient. So for our own context here, to what extent have we been able to solve problems? And for instance, we find problems are ubiquitous. For instance, we have housing problems, here. I hope I'm going to shake some tables.
Please do.
Many people, sometimes you think because you're trying to solve a problem, it must be a cash cow. Eventually, you don't solve any problem. That's my thinking, since this is a conversation. So I'll give you an example. In Lagos, Ibadan, Ogun State, everywhere, there's a challenge of housing. People are looking for accommodation.
Crazy one.
If you're looking for accommodation, you'll be going here, there, and some people are profiting from this bad state.
Yes.
They would never like it if somebody comes up to say, okay, can we build, a maybe 52-story building where you have apartments and you're not going to pay anything more than 250,000 a year. You can pay monthly, no agents, there's an app.
Yeah.
People that are gatekeepers in that industry will never allow that. So in their mind, they might be solving some problems for their pockets. They're not solving a problem for the context, for the generality of the people. So to answer that question, it is, what kind of problems are we trying to solve? Are we trying to solve a problem of the people, or are we trying to solve a problem of survival and greed? And I want to take this a little bit further. I hope I'm not digressing. Is to say, on Sunday we learned about work, about you just have to work. The reason, the essence of man is to work. And I beg to say that as Adam started to work, money was not a thing. God didn't pay him at the end of the month. Okay, take 100,000 for naming all the animals. He was just working. So this day, or what we find now is, people have now turned that work to become evil. Because if you're a primary school teacher, you go to work, you are there morning to night. Most teachers, I'm not saying all, you're being paid a mega salary. You get home, maybe you have kids, you can't pay school fees, you can't pay rent, you can't feed. The work is almost becoming a curse, because you probably don't even have any other choice. So some people are profiting for that situation. So I'm a school owner. I'm increasing school fees. I'm keeping the salaries as they are. So the school owner is probably profiting, is solving his or her own problem. He's not solving our own problem. So that I don't keep going, so I don't become angry. What kind of problem are we solving? Is it my own problem for my pocket alone, or am I solving a problem of the society?
I think that's phenomenal to describe technology in that terms.
Yes.
I'm thinking about technology itself. When you think about how humanity started, it was as a result of creating tools that will make life easier.
Yes.
Even right from God, what Adam and Eve used were leaves, and God said, use animal skin.
Yes.
And from there, that graduated.
That was technology too.
Yes, exactly, and that graduated into other things. So that's why I said it's quite phenomenal, because I wouldn't have imagined that technology can be defined in that aspect.
Yes.
But back to you, so let me have your thoughts too. Again, to say that as against what's obtainable in the world versus what's Nigeria, how would you rate our level of technology here in Nigeria?
Okay, so there was a time I was studying computer security plus, So while I was studying, of course, computer security plus is industry standard for cybersecurity that we advise. So I began to see some things there. I had problem relating it with what we have in Nigeria. So my only hope of studying it is that, well, even if there will not be avenue in Nigeria, you get it. So what I'm trying to say is that we adopted technology late.
Okay, yeah.
That's one. Compared to the outside countries. Two, most of our leaders, they are not helping us in terms of technology. Why? Because they are not necessarily inclined to technology.
Okay.
Sorry, can I interject?
Yes, please.
Sorry. I think I differ on that. Maybe my own point of view. That's, I don't think it's a problem of some people far away leaders.
Okay.
I think it's a
Like a
mindset thing. For instance, I was, there's a part of my area where there's a, bad portion on the road, and I keep passing that place every time. And in my mind, I'm thinking, these people just keep pouring sand on the photo. By the time it rains, it gets mushy. The vehicles pass on it, then it spreads. The water, and the problem is, I feel the problem is, I'm not an engineer, but I just observed that the drainages by the sides, they are clogged up. So when it rains, water doesn't have any other way to pass than to stay on the road. So it spoils the road the more. And I was telling one of the guys that, why don't you guys through the gutter instead of doing this laborious work of filling? And the guy said, it is the government that's going to do that. It's not their business. But you are there, you are trying to. So I feel, sorry for interjecting, but I feel it's a mindset thing. Like, it's a mindset thing. It's not something that is far away. We have a lot of problems, like, around us, like, every day. I mean, you wonder why the Oimbos the white people that have snow, they have snow all the time. They invented AC.
Oh.
Why? But we have the sun, we have the heat. We're not, and I'm not trying to say we don't invent. We are solving our own problems, but we are solving it in a very small way. I mean, it's a surprise to know that we have clay pots that can give you almost the same temperature with, maybe not freezing, but at least cool the temperature. But, we don't try to expand because we have a choice.
Yeah.
We have a choice. So I think my interjection is to say that rather than,
pointing up,
put the ball on the government, like many of us, we just have choices. Somebody else.
Now, let me strike a balance.
Well, the balance then will be that our leaders too, they are from us anyways.
Yes, we are the leaders.
Now, take for example now, in a corporate organizations, there's a limit to how you can be skillful in the use of technology if it is not necessarily approved.
Yes.
Even if it will solve all your problems.
Yes.
And the approval is not coming from your MD. The approval have to do with, in that particular country, is there any law that safeguard this thing you are using? The question is this: even though we know that our contemporaries outside our context are using it, and we have seen what it can do, why is it that I can also use it to bring the benefit down to my own country or to use in my institution? Because why? They will tell you that there is a regulation that your country need to sign before you can use it. So in this case, what do?
You develop your own.
There's no way you can develop your own if it has not been passed or if it has not been approved. For example, now we have JEID application. That's for data protection. We just started using data protection lately. I think the president signed it, Data NDPA Act 2023. Before the president signed it, President Bola Ahmed, before he signed it, people outside Nigeria, they have been using data protection under different name anyway. But we have not been minding it. We have not been caring. So if you go to an institution now, and for example, in financial sector now, and they litter your information, they do anything about it, you cannot sue them even if you're on your right. Why? Because there's not necessarily a law that will back you up that what the bank has done is wrong. Do you get it? Because there's not a law that back it. For every use of technology you are using in Nigeria, either sophisticated or not sophisticated, there is always a law that back it. Why do you think they introduced the Cyberbullying Act? Because technology are what? Are evolving. Before now, anybody that have that issue, how did they treat it? How do the police, how do you think they treat it? Who lose at the end of the day? Meanwhile, there are some people who got the information of, okay, I can do this, I can do that, and they bring it up and they are using it for a selfish reasons. But because there is no law that back it, that make your stand on it legal to say that if you use this kind of technology for me, it is wrong. So people will keep doing it at a disadvantage to another people, although they think they are solving a particular problem. But it will always lead, every problem you solve leads to another problem, one way or the other. We know that as a rule. So I'm saying that one of the reasons why we are not yet developed in the use of technology is because we don't have, for example now, let me shock you. AI, everybody is talking about AI, right? Do you know that we don't have some substantial key law that really backs AI in Nigeria? Definitely. That is why most organizations have not fully switched to AI automation. Because there is no definite law. Although recently, I think Nigeria and some part of the world, they signed an agreement looking at, okay, AI in your own context, what are the necessary things you can use so that we can violate. But go and check. JEID is used for sophisticated automation. But there are still some automations that are coming that some institutions can never use, even though it will solve every problem. Tesla. Who is using Tesla in Nigeria? Why? Because there is no yet rule or law coming from above that will back up the security aspect of such technology.
So one thing is clear now. That we've both been able to establish the fact that whether from the individual level up to the national level, there is a gap. There is that gap of who will enforce things, who will ensure that things are done properly. Exactly. Looking at things from the example of that roadside, are we saying that we don't have Christians plying that road? Are we saying that we don't have churches that can say, you know what, today's evangelism will be to clear this gutter so that when rain falls, water can pass through. So at the end of the day, we still come back to this same issue of people just being consumers, just being laid back with the mindset that they are just there to use and use and use, as against affecting what's there. So which now brings us to the main focus of this thing, aligning faith and technology. And I'm so happy that we've been able to look at it even beyond technology as per tech or devices. Technology as per the fact that you ply a road, you see that indeed this system that you're using to solve this problem is not working. On the other hand, to see that there are people who are not given voices. This AI, long as at 2023, the EU, they have been talking about it. The EU, European Union have been talking about it, regulation, how to ensure that it's there, it is working. Even as at last year, there was, in terms of cyberbullying now, there was a law the US enacted in terms of people who send unprovoked nude images to teenagers. There was a law protecting that. So that means that we don't have people to talk to these things. We don't have people who are informing decisions, and that's where I want us to bring our different ideas now to say, how then can we have believers stand for the truth? Beyond, thankfully, we've been able to establish the different contexts in which why many believers are not are still in this dichotomy era where this is government versus the church, as against applying the belief that we have into the system. So I think I'll start from you. Let me start from you, Mr. Dapo. Thankfully you are a leader in your workplace. You lead people. You oversee the activities of people. So the question is, and looking at things from the faith-based, I don't want to say faith-based so that it doesn't look like I'm also creating churchy a dichotomy or sound churchy. How can believers apply themselves to affect technology as against just being users?
Okay, for lack of a better term, I would just say that we just need to really have faith really have faith and know that we have faith. I don't know if that makes any sense. Because if you do not know that you can do something, you probably would not do it. If you do not know that you can affect, a generation or 2 generations to come, you probably will not do anything in that regard. So as somebody who has faith, you know what I mean by that, as people who have faith, who believe, who are believers, we need to also understand that there are things that we can do, that we can actually transform whatever it is that we find ourselves. I really don't want to digress, but I'm tempted to. And what I'm going to say is, when I think about a lot of things, how people, just pick technology from a very high point, and we always want to ride the same vehicles, 2025, 2026, on a road that is still maybe 1946 road.
Hey.
Or I want to use iPhone 1 million. Or I want to even drive Tesla, where we've not even solved electricity. So there's this disconnect for me. And so that I don't digress, let me anchor myself to your question, is to say that we need to start seeing ourselves that we can solve immediate problems first. Immediate problem. Like in your workspace, what are the problems that you are seeing? It doesn't have to be so technical. It doesn't have to be, in your effort to solve it, that's technology. Technology can be an advice. That is the way I see it. Because technology is, trying to make something easier, trying to solve a problem. So an advice, doing your work on time, doing what is expected of you, doing the extra mile can be technology, can be solving a problem. So as believers, are we actually solving any problem? Are we seeing ourselves as people who can actually bring the change? For instance, I hope Pastor Francis is not watching. And this is the example I'm going to say. While I was 7, I was in the NCCF. I know you know Nigerian Christian Scholars Fellowship. And we had, we call something family house. We had a building where we stay, and it's a place we needed a place where we congregate and maybe do fellowship and service. And ordinarily, you'll be expecting to, let's go and call an engineer, let's go and call a bricklayer to come and do it. And somebody just suggested that, we can actually do this ourselves. Why don't we get people who are maybe graduates in civil engineering and do stuff? Okay, help us draw something out, do something. And they did. And each batch that comes in, we have times where we'll go there, okay, maybe Saturdays, we'll put blocks. The ladies are probably mixing sand. The guys are probably doing another thing. Some other people are carrying it. At least at the time I left, we had actually roofed it. Wow. That's solving a problem. Just like in the Great Hall here, I'm just saying, like if we have such a challenge that is common to all of us, can we come together and say, okay, this Saturday, we're going to do the flooring of the church. Can we agree that that's a problem we want to solve? Instead of waiting for Elon Musk to come and solve our problems for us, or Bill Gates to solve the problem, because that's what happens. It's people from out there that solve the problems for us, that keep coming to come and help us out. The clothes we are wearing now is
and they
somebody's
get the most benefits.
Yes. I mean, we have Ashoke. I gave my wife a book on Ashoke. We have Ashoke like our own thing. We are still using the old rudimentary loom, whereby a Chinese person has figured out, okay, how can we do this faster to make it faster? So we are seeing this as corporate. These are corporates. This is not corporate.
Actually,
it isn't.
And the interesting thing is that by the time they import their own Ashoke, it's even cheaper.
It's cheaper, then it's of less quality if you compare with what we have here. But we glorify that one.
But going by the survival instinct,
yes.
You want to go for something cheaper.
Yes. So, I mean, to answer the question, like we really need to look at ourselves as believers, wherever it is that we find ourselves, and solve problems that we are seeing. If I'm going on the road and I can help somebody, that is solving a problem. You can extrapolate that and make that bigger to say carpooling. Okay, how can we, people that are going my direction, maybe 2 people have vehicles. I mean, Pastor has said this, I've heard him say it, but we don't do it because we have options.
You know the beautiful thing, and I think that's why I enjoyed bringing I enjoy bringing you here, because I like the way you look at things from the humanistic point of view.
Yes.
So let's look at the things from the technical point of view now.
You see, yes, giving a lot of brilliant summation. Now, you see, when we talk about Christians and technology, Christians see it as something that is meant for some people. Okay, recently I was talking to a graduate. She was pestering me that she needed a job. I said, okay, no problem. You need a job. What do you study? She said she studies so and so. I said, okay. What's Microsoft? What's Excel? Trust me, she does not know. I said, are you a graduate? She said, yes, sir. She sent me an NYC picture.
To show that she's a graduate.
Yeah. I said, if you can, you went to school. This course, if I've heard it before, I can't remember if I've heard this course before. Like, strange course. If I've ever heard the course before, I'm not sure. I don't remember. I'm saying that it's a course that I'm not sure she will even have opportunity out there. But coupled with the fact that you cannot even type anything on the system, I said, okay, if you go for an interview and you are told to start up a system and impute your name on Excel, or they gave you a question to solve on Excel, how do you go about it? She was looking at me. So at that point, she felt angry. You know why she's angry? Because I touched a part that nobody will advise her on. So I said, as little as technology is, when I just got married, I fought my wife. Why? I brought laptop out. I said she should start learning Microsoft Word. Women, you don't teach women things. She was angry, very mad at me. I was like, don't teach me again. I will go and pay outside to learn it. I said, you pay outside? I said, okay. I said, type these exam questions. At the end of the day, she was angry until we contemplated on enrolling her. Do you know why I did that? I know my wife is not really a technological person. And I know that mentality will pass to my son too. Because children generally, they feed from the parents. And if she's staying with the mom, she will learn, no matter how brilliant he is, he will learn to the extent of what the mom has passion for. So this is what I do. I started using laptop to train my own son. Not any other gadget. Laptop that I supervise for learning.
For learning, yeah.
My son don't use phone. He's a baby. I don't want to see you with phone. People are pressing phone. You don't go there. No iPad, no gadgets. In my house, you don't watch TV. If you watch TV, if you watch it for 1 hour, it's only educational content that I use USB flash to put myself. I don't use GoTV. I don't use anything. My TV has flash. I get the educational material content on the flash myself. I plug it on the flash. You watch. If you are traveling, you put the flash in your bag. Yes. If you want my son to come, no cartoon. Agree? If you don't agree, my son stays home. I call my son, are you there? Do you watch this and this? Yes, Daddy, I watch this, I watch that. Good. You are coming back from the travel, where's my flash drive? I check the flash drive, everything is intact. Okay. In a week, you watch TV maybe once or twice. That's my rule. So now, I'm now saying that the use of technology is not necessarily the bigger one. It starts from what? The cradle. It starts from what? The cradle level of technology. A graduate who cannot even type a name on Excel and Word, is that one AI? I mean, it's basic enough for anybody to learn. So what do? As Christians, as Christian leaders, we must deliberately adjust our teaching to contain societal transformation.
Christian again.
As Christian leaders, we must adjust our teachings to take the shape of societal transformation. We are only building spiritual people. We are building them to be useful only in the church, not outside the church. So they are useful only in the church and useless outside. So when we adjust our teachings, somebody called me for Abuja sometimes last year. She said there's a policy. Of course, I work with Christian Association of Nigeria. I serve as the outgoing personal assistant and media head to the current outgoing CAN chairman of Oyo State. At least I've been serving for over 3 years now. So somebody called from Abuja and said, okay, we wanted to enact a policy in the health sector. But the reason why I'm calling you, sir, is because they said people only believe their pastors. So that's why I'm calling you, sir. I said, okay. So what do you want? They told me what they want. I said, okay. I reported it to the CAN chairman. We effected the policy. Do you think people will not obey? They will obey. The same way people will obey when we adjust our sermon to be inclusive of societal transformation, so that people will be useful outside the church. That's why Gen Zs now, they don't go to traditional churches again. The condition for going to traditional churches is that if they could see what they are seeing at the Gen Z church. That's the only condition.
So we have a Gen Z church now?
Yes.
Interesting.
So they want to go to church that is happening. The churches that teaches them how to be useful in their offices, what to expect, promotions, how to relate with toxic partners, how to relate with toxic boss. That's the kind of churches people want to go now. Not only churches that feed them sermon, be useful to God. What's the benefit of being useful to God and you are useless to the society? You end up being poor here on earth and go to heaven. Meanwhile, let me tell you the truth. When people are restricted, limited to a particular knowledge, it could be technology, it could be anything. When they are limited to it, your gospel will fly with respect to the kind of connection or the kind of level you have. If I want to effect something in government, it's very simple. It's the simplest. I know how to write and governor will read. I know how to write and the commissioner that is involved will read. So if I want to enact any policy, I just speak with my boss, the CAN chairman, and I give him 1 million reasons why I think we should do it. Guess what? It will be effected. But before, I do not have such level of influence. But because I have learned not to be useless to the society, where I'm useful to God, then I felt like if I want to go up there, it's not only Bible I need to read to go up there now, my brother. It's not only Bible. It's not only prayer. Then I follow the necessary principles. So that my gospel, I will not be the reason why my gospel doesn't fly. I should be the reason why the gospel is what? Is being amplified. So, in summation, I'm saying that it starts from the church. Don't raise disciples to be useful for you alone in the church. You know, pastors can be so mean. They can teach you 1 million ways to be a good worker. The intention is clear. Support the church. Don't altercate with your pastor. Respect the pastor. See the pastor as mini God. There are deliberate teachings like that. But when we adjust it to see the bigger picture, it becomes, in your workplace, take your God there. Daniel took his God to the workplace now. Joseph took his God there now. So our technology too, we take it to church. We introduce Zoom. We are connecting live now. Why? Because there is a resource that the church is spending money on. And because the leader of the church believes that there are other knowledge you should have apart from the one is impacting. I've been a friend of this ministry as far back as 2019. I was telling Pastor Kola recently that I knew that Sunday was my tomorrow because I followed, but I couldn't come because I had to speak on Sunday. So I'm saying that it starts from the church. Christians believe anything their pastor say. More than what a governor say.
I really like that. And the beautiful thing about tonight's conversation is just the balance for me. It means that I've spoken about how everyday believers need to start from the immediate solutions, immediate problems. And you are now addressing the bigger, the big picture to say the people that will listen to the most are the people meant to be addressing these things to say that indeed we can effect these changes. We can You can go into your workplace and devise the solutions. So, in closing, because I think we are gradually getting there now. So, right now, we are at a time where technology is getting to that point. Obviously, it happens for every revolution, every technological revolution, where a new idea, a new innovation comes in, and the next thing people say is, this thing will take your job, this thing will take away this, it will take away this, and then over and over. So for example, when TV came, they were like, TV will take away radio. Until today, radio is here. People are saying that AI will take away photographers, will take away graphic designers, will take away all of that. Now, I want us to speak to that, to all of those innovations, because it's as though when a new innovation comes in, we like to throw away everything, as though that is what will happen, which history has also taught us that it's not necessarily so. But right now that AI is here, and AI is being projected as something that is powerful, and indeed it's powerful if we are to look at things critically, especially with the way people are coming up with models and whatnot. How are believers meant to? How are we believers? How are we to align with these changes?
Okay, first of all, when you said AI, I mean, we've not really talked much about AI. So I'm very passionate about our own context here. Not that I don't care about that context, but this is where I am, and God created me to be an African. So when you say AI, what comes to my mind is Africa included.
Africa included.
Yes.
Interesting.
And what I mean by that is, how do we, like you mentioned about large language models. If you use ChatGPT, you're probably feeding from another context. How do we get, Dr. Adibola says this a lot. How do we get these things to work for us here?
Yeah.
How do we get it to work for us here? How can we domesticate it for us, for our own use here? So for believers, whether it is AI or me, I'm not seeing technology alone as AI. That's in that sense. Technology is, this bottle is a form of technology, because you put water in a container that it makes it handy and portable. You can put it in your bag, you can carry it along, as against putting inside a clay pot. So it's a form of technology. So what we need to just keep doing is to keep seeing, this technology as tools, as Pastor says, and as we know, they are tools. You can't buy a spanner now and say once you have a spanner, you have it all. The spanner is supposed to be used for something. The AI is supposed to be used for something. Even the context where they brought this AI, where it is in full force, some of these, you see how artists, you see how people that are still coding, you see how people that are still doing all these quote unquote mundane tasks. Those things are still going to be here, whether I would like to or not. The human being is the most important thing. It's not even the AI. So the AI or whatever technology are tools for the human being. So whether we like it or not, we need to start harnessing those tools, whether it's AI or or solar or electricity or whatever it is, for the use of human beings. So as Christians, as believers, we need to start seeing how we can apply our faith to be able to think big and imagine, and be able to see how that can be used to solve our problems. Solving our problems, that means you're using technology. So faith and technology, that is the place where there's a melting point, where we can imagine. God has given us a mind, the mind of Christ is in us. Yes. Be able to imagine. We need to start thinking about teleportation. Yes. It's already in the Bible. So how can we use that to better our lot here? How can we use that faith to say we can imagine this, we can conceptualize this and reify it by technology? So that's where I think we as Christians, as believers, whatever it is that we find ourselves, we need to start seeing the possibilities of solving problems with technology, whether AI or whatnot.
Thank you very much. I'd like to twist that question a little bit for you, because it just touched on something that I was hoping to touch, and it's still part of the last question I asked, because it said something that is technology for man, not man against technology, right? But then the context here is believers. How are we meant to affect that and align with the changes to ensure that it is technology for man and not man for technology?
You see, number one, I would like to pick from what he has said. There's a common ground in everything. That's our mindset. The mindset is that, okay, artificial intelligence. You see, I have studied, once AI comes, of course, I had to do a course in AI, artificial intelligence. Yeah. So all this LLM, large language model, yeah, I'm familiar with it. But you know one thing that is scary about AI? AI itself, it's a brainwork of someone. So the result you are seeing through AI is somebody. It's somebody's result.
Yeah.
That's been projected through automation.
Yeah.
Do you get it? The person that think have how many head? One. Is he a Christian or a Muslim? We don't know. He may even be an atheist. So what should Christians do? Don't be lazy.
Don't be lazy.
Start from conceptualizing things. This is AI. Somebody has invented it. What can I do with this AI? Now let me tell you. There's all called deepfake technology.
Yeah.
I know you're all familiar with it. Deepfake has been used in other countries for about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Has been used in other countries, Korea, any other advanced countries. And what is deepfake? Deepfake is so bad that somebody can edit me now to put somebody's head here, and everybody will believe that I wasn't the one who spoke. That was somebody else. Do you know, in cybersecurity, we got to know that it is possible to use deepfake in a Zoom meeting.
Wow.
Yes. Because in cybersecurity, we study the security aspect of any technology that is out. So it can be edited, and someone who is not part of the meeting, trust me. So as a Christian, what do? Somebody have introduced it. You conceptualize. What can I do? What contribution can I make to it? In fact, if those ones are too much, start from learning how to use software to create good PowerPoints. There are some software now that you can use to make a beautiful design. Do it for your customer. As a Christian, I have a mentality that I want to be different. So if you want to be different, then you must harness every available tool that will help you to prosecute this mandate, which includes AI. But you know what many Christians do? Once they see an innovation, they leave it for people who want to do it. Now, when it is now time for them to use it on their job, what do? They will start complaining that their boss is too hard on them. Why would their boss tell them to go and learn this when their boss can hire somebody who can use it? So your mindset as a believer, like I said, is the common ground for everything. I'm a Christian. I want to be better. I want to transform the society. How can I transform the society? I transform it with the tools that are available in the society. Just that when everybody are using it for the negative impact, then I'll concentrate on using it for the positive impact. So how will I use it for the positive impact? Solving a problem that will make those negativity to reduce while those positivity increases.
Man, this has been very enjoyable for me, yet inspiring. I really love the dynamic of the conversation. I really enjoyed myself tonight. And when I say enjoy, not enjoy like a fan for entertainment, I mean like enjoyed. I was renewed in my spirit, and some things were even clearer. Special thanks to Mr. Dapo. Thank you for bringing that your humanistic side to it. I enjoyed that part. Once again, thank you, Dr. Laranjo, for bringing the technical side to it. I really enjoyed it. So if there's anything to take away from all of this, I'll start from the last thing said to say, and which of course Mr. Dapo said, is to conceptualize. God has given us the ability As believers, God has given us the ability. We're not saved to just come and sit down and come to church, be holy on Sunday, and then go into the world like it is another world entirely. We can conceptualize big things. But even while we conceptualize, going to what Mr. Dako said is that we must start even from the regular, everyday things. You go on the road, you can always do something. You can always do something. You can always affect the next thing going on right now. New changes are happening with technology. You can affect how it's being used. You can learn something. You can do something. But much more, start from your immediate environment, because that can be another challenge for someone out there to think that it's big, but you can always start somewhere. And once again, special thanks to Mr. Oladapo Odolami. Thanks to Dr. Olaniwaju for joining me. That's where we draw the curtains for tonight's edition. I hope that you join in next week again. But on Saturday, we have our leadership meeting by 7 a.m. And on Sunday, we resume our service time, 8 a.m. for Real Success Seminar and 9:30 a.m. for the network service. For the Real Success Seminar, we're learning about consistency. For the network service, we are learning about, I've forgotten now. But just join us. Just join us. I'm sure that you will enjoy yourself in God's presence. And the beautiful thing about worshiping with TBN is that we're not just here to learn about the Bible. We are learning about how to apply the Bible to our everyday world. We must affect the world positively, and it starts with you and I. So I hope that you can join in this Sunday by 8 a.m. for the Real Success Seminar. Once again, my name is Kayo Desoni. Till I see you next time, God bless you. Bye.